Hey everyone, Thomas here from Thunderbolt Films. So bear with me here. I'm currently testing out a new setup. It's kind of mounted to my desk. If you watch a DSLR video shooter, you probably know where I got this idea from. But yeah, I just decided I'd throw this stuff up and test it out. So I'm probably gonna use a different microphone because it's a bit of a hassle plugging it straight into my mixer. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to get on here not only to test this setup, but I also wanted to kind of address something that I haven't really talked about in a minute, and that is pretty much why we stopped doing the Filmmakers Roundtable podcast. If you don't know, the Filmmakers Roundtable was a podcast, and well, really, it was a YouTube channel that myself, Brian Long, and Dylan Listener ran for about maybe close to a year. It was not only a podcast, but it was really a YouTube channel, the Roundtable. The flagship production was the podcast we did, where we talked about, our opening slogan was the podcast dedicated to filmmaking and getting insight from filmmakers working in the industry. We did about 20 some odd episodes the first season. A bonus episode right after the Oscars of 2019. We started a season 2, we did one episode, and we never came back. And I wanted to talk about why, because we kind of just left the channel in the dark, and it's pretty much dormant right now. So I want to explain why that is, and what happened, and why we stopped doing it. The first reason, well, these are in no particular order. The concept was, we were a bit overly ambitious. And I guess a lot of that is kind of my fault too, because I'm a very ambitious person, and that kind of, I guess you could say, putting the cart before the horse. Originally just do the podcast, because we started that in high school, and we wanted to bring that back and bring it full force. We wanted to get it on iTunes and everything. But also we wanted to bring us all together to make like a network like the Roundtable was supposed to be. And where we not only did the podcast, but we also did the Friday show. We were going to do tutorials, we were going to do other filmmaking stuff, and just all kinds of other things where we talked about comic books and video games. It was a bit too much for 3 people to do. Another reason it failed was because there never was really a plan, on my part at least. I mean, I say me, I'm not going to speak for the other guys, but for me, I treated the Roundtable pretty much like a business. I think I said it before in a previous video when we first relaunched it, that I very much treated the Roundtable like a startup business. They say most startups fail, and it's true. I was pretty much using it to like learn about business and accounting and the business tools and that sort of thing, administrative work. I wanted to get the podcast on iTunes. We were planning to do like Twitch stuff, to live stream it on YouTube or Twitch. But the problem was I really didn't know, I didn't have a plan for it. I didn't know where to take it. I'm not great at marketing. Ryan is much better at that than I am. I don't know. I guess he has that natural ability to do so, and ability to get people to watch, and I don't really. But it was the lack of a plan that I think really set us off. The lack of any sort of business plan. We never had a 5-year goal for it, or even a 1-year goal for it. We initially did, but things kept falling apart, which kind of leads me into the last point, is life happened. Life happened for all of us. Ryan had kind of left early on. He was going through his own life changes and everything. I'm not going to go into that. And when that happened, we were down one person, and it was essentially just me and Dylan, and both of us had jobs, and so we didn't have a lot of free time to do the show. We started doing multiple shows. We did the Friday show and the Roundtable podcast, but eventually we were just doing the podcast, and that was it. We stopped doing multiple shows because it was too much for us to do, but even just doing the podcast was way too much, because I can't speak for Dylan, but I was burnt out. I remember probably the last maybe 5 or more episodes we did, it was becoming a chore. I'm just like, I would get up, because we shot it on Fridays, it came out on Mondays. I'd get up, I'm just like, oh, I gotta record the podcast today. Great. So we did it. We would write the script, or well, we would write down what we wanted to talk about and everything. And also because I think partially why it became so dry and why it became such a chore to do was, it was too long. The podcasts were too long. But I think what we should have done, we should have cut it down. We should have just nailed it down to like 1 or 2 topics, or if we were going to talk about multiple topics, we should have just cut those into their own bits, into their own segments, and upload those separately on YouTube. We probably would have done better view-wise with that method. And there was no reason for us to take an inordinate amount of time for the podcast. Now some people think that's fine, but unlike something with like the Joe Rogan podcast or the Joe Rogan Experience, it's not really related to that podcast. His podcast is not really a subject-based podcast. Ours was about films and filmmaking, and we were going to interview other filmmakers, which never happened. And it got too long, too boring, and I just didn't. Maybe it was our personalities. I'm not really sure, but we just didn't have the chutzpah. Sorry, however you say it, to keep the show going, and to keep it fresh and entertaining, because it was. Like I said, it was really becoming a chore to do every week. And that's why we stopped doing it. And I guess to address the inevitable question, if we're ever going to relaunch it, I don't know. At this point, we don't have any plans to. If the guys want to relaunch it and get involved with it, I'd definitely be open to it. And maybe kind of rethink our strategy for it. I'd talk to them about it. I'd be willing to, listen to see what everybody has to say. But at this point, we don't have any plans to. We're all kind of off doing our own thing. Dylan actually moved about a couple hours from where he used to live, where we used to shoot the show, which is another one of the reasons why we stopped doing it, because it just became too complicated. But yeah, to sum up, it was overly ambitious. We didn't have much of a plan, or if we did, or what plan we did have, it all slowly crumbled apart. And life just got in the way. So that's what happens, and it sucks. But I think it was probably for the best that we ended it where it did, and maybe leave the door open in case we do decide to come back. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for me. Sorry for the rambling and everything. Like I said, I'm testing out this new setup. I'm definitely going to put up a new microphone, because this one is really getting on my nerves. So, yeah. Alright guys, so thanks guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more, and follow me on all my social media. Thanks guys, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.